I'm going to be French today, okay? This is what the French do, that look official. Anyway, nothing's really funny right now. Although you got to keep a positive attitude and stiffer up lip and all that, like the British say. Anyway, today's Critical Thinking, December 20th, 2020. Sorry I'm late again. I've been involved with some things. So what we have here now is an interesting situation. We have the... I'm not even going to go into it as far as the pandemic thing. One thing I will mention, can people please look up right now, Japan. Japan has 126 million people living on a tiny little island, crammed in like sardines. They have 2,300 people that passed away. Again, mostly, sadly, elderly people that were frail, sadly. Not to minimize the humanity in it. It's not just a math equation. So, this is not marijuana. It's a locally person here grows tobacco and rolls it up, and it's like an organic. I have one once in a while. I'm not a smoker. Not that I'm against marijuana, but it shouldn't be allowed for children, teenagers. It has shown to cause problems, seriously, scientifically. When the brains are developing, they shouldn't be drinking alcohol or smoking weed. Maybe that's what's wrong with the whole world. Because when I was a kid, everyone was smoking weed and drinking. So maybe that's the people running the country. That's why they're so screwed up right now. Could be. Or maybe not. Maybe they're so evil that they didn't smoke weed. And they're just greedy, evil people. Now, it's come down, as I mentioned, Vanguard and Blackstone. I think one has 11 trillion in assets, equities. 11 trillion. The other one has close to that. Now, that's the stock portfolios of the majority of Walmart, Amazon, Apple, heavily vested in Asia, mainly China, as we discussed before. That's who runs everything, my friends. On the planet, probably, other countries. Germany's going through this. France, yellow vesters were correct. Let's not forget the French Revolution. It inspired the American Revolution. And the Russian Revolution was, the little people, the workers, the nice workers, farmers, normal people like today, said, we had enough of these czars with all the food and money and wealth and comfort. Well, we're starving and freezing. That's from my grandparents, from Russia before it was Soviet Union. Sadly, the Bolsheviks turned out to be worse. They became another corrupt system that just didn't work. Today, Russia's not like that. Russia's a pretty good country. I mean, I don't have nothing. Why do people demonize it? It's like a red herring. But they love China, and they love Arabia, who attacked us. We're giving them aircraft, and you know what I'm saying. I'm not going to go into that digression, as they say. I asked to reserve judgment on these things. A lot of the stuff that you hear today, you really don't know who to believe. You don't really know who, like I said, in Russia they had the Pravda. That meant truth in Russian. It was one newspaper. So everyone in Russia knew whatever was in Pravda was the opposite happened. Over here you have 500 different versions of every story, so no one knows who's right or wrong. So in this recent decision with the U.S. Supreme Court, we have, they decided, not based on the merits of cheating and technical issues, based on the fact that wrongdoings or actions of other states have not harmed the plaintiffs, being Texas and the other states that joined. So does that mean that the civil rights movement, when people in the South, like Alabama, Mississippi, were horrifically treating people of color, that other states and federal agencies had no right to intervene because it didn't harm the people in New York? Or, like, remember the people forget, things infuriates me sometimes. Sorry if I get mad. But Oprah Winfrey did this Selma film about the civil rights released a few years ago. Somehow all the Jews were removed. There was a few Jews murdered along with blacks, marching with the blacks, trying to help free and equal rights for black people in the South. And today they've been removed, I'll call it blackwashed, from the film. What is that all about? I even emailed her and asked her why, and the producer. Why'd you take out Rabbi Yeshua Heschel, who marched and got spit on and pushed and disgraced by the evil white power people, along with Martin Luther King, right next to him? Why were the Jews removed that were murdered and Rabbi Heschel? So this might sound like a crazy thing, but that's a digression. But I had to mention that. The thing that gets me crazy here is if the Supreme Court decides such a thing, that other states can't harm the inhabitants of another state and they can't hear that, who does? Who does? Who would? And like the civil rights example, what right did other states have to say that the South that you can't have slaves and treat black people like animals? We all know it's wrong, but yet they're trying to say they can't intervene on that. Come on. Something funny is going on. And plus, this, like I said, Republicans and demon cats are the same people behind the scenes in Wall Street. They have lobbyists that are a vested interest in this China trade. And they are not going to let anyone interfere. And you could hate the orange man. I'm not saying I think the guy's a great guy. I didn't like him at all until he started mentioning, you know, that we need to stop China trade, go after pharmaceutical companies, etc., etc. And also, there's no war under this president. He wants to take people out of the war and cut back on things. And I'm not a champion or a shill for him. I don't particularly care for his personality, per se. But I don't think he's a bad, evil person. He's an egomaniac, obviously, but he's not a bad person. The thing is, the people behind the curtain we need to focus on. As I said earlier in the series, like in The Wizard of Oz, there's a man or women behind the curtain. BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, Wall Street, mega powerful, wealthy people now. Probably a few thousand, maybe, if that, controlled 99% of the money. And it's not like the Federal Reserve and the Jewish conspiracies, because if you look at these things, they have nothing to do. There's all kinds of people, all races, all religions. But there are people in the world where it's never enough. They just want to make more and more. If you have 10 billion, you want 30, 40, or 50. And they are manipulating elections and governments. Other countries have talked about this, and don't think they're all lying. We have had things happen here. This election's been our own election's being manipulated. What do you think we did to other people? And the thing, like in Iran, they put in a democracy, a president like we wanted in the 50s, and he says, oh, the oil of Iran is going to go to the people, and magically within a year, oh, he's gone, and the British and Americans put in the Shah, their puppet. That's why Iran's mad. I guess, does everyone know that? Look it up. Read the history on that. The people of Iran are good people. The youth. They're not bad. There's some leaders that are maybe extremists, but they have reasons to be that way. They just didn't wake up one day and say, we hate America because, I don't know, they eat hot dogs. I don't know. There's reasons for this. So let's think. Think critically. I try to light this thing when I talk. I want to be more French, you know. Well, look at the Yellow Vest movement, my friends. Right before this, I'm not going to say scamdemic because a lot of people did die. It's a very bad virus, flu. Not as bad as they're trying to play it up to be. Like in New York and Queens, I know thousands of people. I only heard of one guy that got it. And in the epicenter, they said it was last spring and summer. And he went back to work. I heard of one person passing away, but she's very unhealthy, older, overweight, diabetes type thing. My uncle had passed away from the regular flu 5 years ago. He smoked like 4 packs a day for years, and he was in terrible health to begin with. So a normal cold could do that. Anyway, forget that. I'm not going to go into that. This is going to cause some brain damage for people. I'm sure you heard enough. And I'm not making light of the situation either. It's not funny. I mean, a lot of nice, good people passed away. And some young people, not really that many. So, right now, the Supreme Court, to get back to the original conversation, because I go nuts, I just need more coffee, maybe. The original conversation was the Supreme Court voted not on the merits of cheating allegations and misconduct, but they have no jurisdiction. Then I would ask them, how did they tell other states they can and can't do with other situations?